Morning, guys. Oh, I've not spoken yet today, and already my voice sounds horrendous. Um, you might have noticed I didn't do many vlogs. I only did a couple, but I've not been very well, so I didn't want to just be doing the same thing all the time, which is just not very much at the moment because my head's not in a very good place. So yeah, I didn't do many, but I really fancied doing it today. Just was in the mood for it. You might have noticed my hair is a bit different. I have dyed it. It took a long time to get to this shade, my word. Trying to strip red out of hair is just always a nightmare. But it's finally gone to like a blondish colour. I think the camera's making it look a bit more orangey than it actually is. But it's more of a blondie colour, like an ash blonde. Oh god, this cough is ridiculous. So it's about 9:30 in the morning, I think. I think it's 9:30, if not it's 9:45. I've not long got up. I had a really rough night sleeping, and my body clock just doesn't seem to agree with me half the time now, which is sucky, really. You might notice there's some canvases behind me. I'm doing some painting stuff at some point, but I'm not going to disclose what it is I'm doing because there's certain people that might be watching that I don't want them to see this. But I'm starting to sell some of my canvases, so that's a job that's happening soon. I'll be selling those. I've had an order from a friend of mine who wanted a SpongeBob painting, so I've done that. That's going out at some point this week, I think. And then I need to organise sorting out this other painting that someone else wants. So, yeah. Just figured I'd update you on that because it's going kind of well with that. Oh god, this cough is a nightmare. So yeah, there's not been a great deal of change since I last vlogged, really. Other than I feel shitty still. I started seeing a therapist, and she was lovely. Really lovely. She's made me feel a lot better about certain things. I mean, I still come home and I still feel rubbish, and I do have up days and down days, but she has made me feel normal for the first time in a long time. That what I'm feeling isn't just an exaggeration of anything, it's how I'm genuinely feeling, and she understands it. Whereas most people, when they learn about depression and anxiety and all that sort of shit, they judge you within a split second, and they think that anything that you're thinking is just ludicrous and that you just need to be positive and that that'll get you through. And it doesn't work like that. It really doesn't. If it worked like that, I would be doing it all the time, but I can't. It doesn't happen that way. I have to battle with myself on a daily basis to get up, to get out, to go and do stuff. And it's isolating. It's a horrible thing to have. I hate it. I mean, I don't like having to force myself to do stuff because I know it'll be better for me to do it than not do it at all, if that makes any sense at all. It should do. So I'll give you an example. I went to an event that my friends were running in Scunthorpe. Well, I say my friends were running it, they were taking part in it a couple of weeks ago now. And I was in an hour and about whether to go. And it was about 10:30 in the morning, and the train I needed to get was like at 11 o'clock. So I was like, right, okay, if you're going, you need to go now. You need to get yourself ready, you need to go. And I just didn't think about it, I just went. And I had a brilliant day. So it worked out for the better. But that's the thing with anxiety, is that for me, that was a very big thing to do, was to just force myself out and just go. Because it's difficult. Your mind will, well, my mind anyway, makes you think, makes you doubt yourself all the time. So I had to just sort of make a split decision and just go, because otherwise, if I'd thought about it for any longer, I wouldn't have gone. I would have ended up convincing myself that if I went, I would have a shit time and I wouldn't enjoy myself, and I'd just better off staying at home. And I couldn't have been more wrong. So it's stuff like that that makes it difficult with this condition. Leaving the house for me is a nightmare on a daily basis. Like, I have to force myself out on my daily walk or something that I do, just to make sure that I've been out and had some fresh air, because that's good for you. But there's just lots of things that scare me when I go out. I don't know what it is. Sometimes I'll have anxiety and panic attacks and I don't even know what's brought them on. It's shit. I just hate it. I always have. It's, you know, it was this morning even. I had one last night in the middle of the night, and I must have woken up about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And I was having an anxiety attack. And I don't know what set it off. I hadn't got a clue what set it off at all. Usually I have some rough idea, but don't know what it was. My heart rate was going really quickly. I couldn't breathe properly. I was, excuse me. I was very jittery. My legs just wouldn't sit still for more than 2 seconds. And it was horrible. It was just pure hell for like half an hour before I could get myself back off to sleep properly, which is what I usually do. If I get quite bad with my anxiety, so this lighting is horrible. If I get quite bad with my anxiety, I often try and sleep it off, because sometimes that works. It's just sort of like pressing the reset button on something. That's what sleeping does for me. So yeah, that was scary. It's just different for everybody. Anxiety is different for everyone. Sometimes it's triggered by seeing certain people. Sometimes it's triggered by going to certain places. Sometimes it's triggered by having to do a simple task, but the consequences of that task, if they go wrong, might really upset you. So you don't want to do it. It's horrible. Trying to change your way of thinking when you feel like that is just horrible. And for me, this is the worst anxiety I've had in years. I mean, I've always had depression. Depression's always been something that's been there, and I do get down about it, and it does make me feel shit. But this anxiety's just really taken hold of me and made living not feel like living anymore. And I don't want to feel like that anymore. I don't. Sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to feel like there's anything to be scared of all the time. I don't want to be scared to go out, to be scared to interact with people, because I've seen what it does to people. I mean, my mum, I'm going to use her as an example, but not in a bad way. She suffers quite badly with social anxiety. She's scared of seeing people a lot of the time, and she's done brilliantly with it. I mean, over the last few years, I've seen her be more social than I have done for a long time. But I don't want to be that. I don't want to be scared to go and see people. I just don't want to. I've always been quite a social, interactive person, so for me, that would just be bizarre, for a start. But it also, anxiety makes it difficult for you to want to reach out to people too. I mean, I'm quite fortunate that where I am at the moment and where I live, I mean, I'm not within close proximity to my mum and my sister and my family and stuff, but I've had 2 friends that have been nothing more than rocks for me for the last few weeks. They've invited me out to stuff, they've offered for me to come round, they've looked after me, they've rung me, they've texted me, they've done everything they can to make sure that I haven't gone a bit loopy-doo, and that if I need someone, that they're there for me, which is all people with anxiety want. And the thing is, that's what makes it difficult. People don't get it. They don't understand that actually, a lot of the time, people with anxiety just want a hug. They just want someone to be there for them. And it gets labelled as this condition, but nobody wants to help with it. Nobody wants to be there. And that's how I've kind of realised that my friends Tom and Lauren, that's what they're called, have been just brilliant, because they've done it because they want to be there for someone. they genuinely care, which for me is something that that brings a tear to my eye a lot of the time. It's I've told them before, it has, and I just appreciate them so much. Because they didn't have to. They don't have to do that for me, but they do because they care. Which is all I've ever wanted. It's just someone to come and give me a hug if I need one, and that if I want to talk to someone, that I can talk to them, because 9 times out of 10 they've messaged me before I've even messaged them. So it's that's all people want most of the time with people with anxiety and depression. They don't want to feel like, because you get a lot of people that go, oh, but you can talk to me if you need me, feel free to message me and this, that and the other, and it's like, yeah, but I think you're failing to realise that my brain won't let me do that. My brain won't let me message you. I kind of need you to message me to make sure I'm okay. Which sounds really selfish, and I'm sure it does, but it's not because I want to be selfish or anything like that. It's because my brain is scared of messaging someone, because in case they don't understand, in case they don't get it, because you get two people. You get one person that will overreact and will make you feel even worse, or you'll get the other person that's just, oh, but you'll be okay, and just tries to be oversympathetic, and actually it don't work. What you want, which sounds really silly and probably really specific, is that you want someone to understand what you're feeling, to not make anything that you think or say seem stupid. You want them to understand it and to give you advice that you would probably want to hear yourself when you're feeling that low. Which is what Tom and Lauren do. I can say something and they will give me an answer, and 9 times out of 10 I'm quite a rational thinker, so if I say something, it's normally because I've thought it through already, and I give people the benefit of the doubt. So 9 times out of 10 I'm not like judgmental. I'm just very, well, there's probably a reason why they've done that, and there's probably a reason as to such and such. That's what I'm like. But also it's nice to have somebody that can understand your opinion, but also display their own without making your opinion seem silly. Which is all you want. And Tom and Lauren have been amazing at it. They really have. This is probably the most real video I've done for a long time. Where there was one particular weekend, I remember. There was an artisan market. I'm just keeping an eye on the timer on my phone because I have a feeling this is going to run out before I finish my story. There was one particular weekend, and I'd gone to this artisan market, and I'd pushed myself to go because I was in a very, very bad way. I was very emotional. There was a lot of stuff going on in my head. There was a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. There was just a lot of stuff going on in general. And I was coming back from the market. I was walking home just after I'd been, because I didn't want to waste my time because there wasn't anything I liked, and I'd been to this other shop that I needed to go to, so I was walking back, and I bumped into Tom and Lauren, and they hadn't seen me since, I can't remember when, but they hadn't seen me for quite a while, and it might have been their wedding, and I looked very emotional from what I can gather. The bottle of wine I had the night before probably wasn't a very good choice, thinking about it now, but it clearly brought some emotions to the surface that probably needed to come out. And they both just gave me a huge hug. And as silly as it sounds, after seeing them, I burst into tears because I was so happy how nice they'd been to me. Which is nice to do. It's nice to cry sometimes. But I'd been so overwhelmed with how nice they'd been that it made me cry. I'm not used to that. I'm not used to being so overwhelmed with emotion because people have been nice to me. I'm used to being overwhelmed with emotion because people are not nice to me. So I just was really taken aback. So if you are watching this, Tom and Lauren, I apologise for the state I look. my beautiful morning hair and all that shit. But you do make each day better for me. You make it so that I want to get up, which for a long time was very difficult to achieve in itself, because I have a cocoon of sadness. This is what I call it. So I'm having a particularly low day. I'm usually wrapped up in a blanket. It's usually this one. I'm usually bundled up in the blanket, and I hide under it most of the day, because I kind of want to hide away from the world. And Tom and Lauren make it so that I don't have to do that. I don't have to be in my cocoon. I can venture out into the world, and it will be okay. And I was saying to Tom, it must have been a little while ago, I struggle with making relationships with certain people. I've always struggled with making relationships with blokes in general. So the fact that I can open up to Tom and feel comfortable in itself is an achievement. So thank you, Tom, for being a man. But also, just I struggle to open up to people unless I feel really comfortable. So for a while, I felt a little bit, not awkward, but I didn't quite know how to talk to Lauren. To start with, no offence to you, Lauren. Just because I didn't know her very well. But actually, me and her are quite similar. So I'm really glad that I have. It's been comfortable. I feel nice doing that. It took a while. Just because my head wouldn't let me, really. I've known Tom for a long time, but I've not known Lauren as long. So that's the main reason for that. So it just took a bit longer. But I wouldn't regret it at all. I'm just amazed at how there are so many people in this world, and not all of them are as good as Tom and Lauren. And I appreciate that. And I'm wearing my slippers, and there's stuff in them, so yeah, sorry. I'm distracted. And I just wanted to make a little segment on that, really. So, to sum up, depression is shit. It makes you feel like you don't want to be around, which is most of the time what I feel like. Most of the time I feel like I don't want to exist, which is not a nice way to feel. And I probably make it sound a lot more funny than it actually is. That's just my sense of humour coming through to try and mask it all, because that's the only way I can cope with stuff. So all of this is just a very big mask that you're seeing here. Is the slightly, if I'd started crying, then you'd probably see the real me. But I put on a facade to get through life, because that's what you have to do with shit like that. And anxiety is just the devil, really. It stops you from wanting to be a person. It makes you feel like, what can you compare it to? It makes you feel like you're a shadow on a wall. It kind of makes you feel like that if the room was dark, nobody would notice you. Which is effectively what a shadow is. It's a cast of darkness. So there's one there. But sometimes you need someone to switch the light on. I quite like this analogy I've come up with. Sometimes you need someone to switch the light on to show that you're there, to show that you do exist, and that actually you don't need to be a shadow. You can be a person. So Tom and Lauren make it so that I don't feel like a shadow. Yeah. Sorry, I think I'm going to cry, so I'm going to stop before I do. But yeah, I just wanted to make that segment. I feel like it's an important one. This is probably the only vlog. This is probably like 20 minutes long, and this is probably going to be the only part of the vlog that you'll see all day. So it's a very shitty vlog. But I wanted to say it. That I appreciate people like Tom and Lauren, like Michael. Michael's probably watching this as well. Who understand, and even if they don't understand, they just don't judge you for it. They're just there. That's all you want. And sometimes you need to be specific about how you want people to be there for you, because I have a thing with phones. I can only talk to people on the phone that I feel really comfortable to. So, Tom, I'm just gonna use you as an example. If I don't answer the phone, there's a chance I've heard it ring, but I've gotten too scared to answer it. And it's not because I don't want to talk to you, it's because my anxiety won't let me answer the phone. That's just an example. So sometimes, yeah, genuinely I don't hear it, but other times if I do hear it, I kind of freak out a little bit and go, I'm not going to answer that. Because it takes me a little bit longer with phone conversations. The main person I talk to on the phone on a daily basis is my mother. I think she gets very bored of it. But she's one person that I feel genuinely comfortable to talk to about it all the time. So, yeah. Otherwise, I think I just have a really boring phone conversation. I think that's probably why. Anyway, I'm gonna end this now. I've been on here for 20 minutes, which I'm surprised my phone's even let me film for this long. And I just wanted to say that anxiety is shit, and depression is shit, but sometimes there's people in the world that make it not shit. So, thanks.